They're not coming to save you. Your father isn't going to suddenly believe in your vision. Your mother isn't going to stop questioning every decision you make. Your friends aren't going to support your transformation because your success makes them confront their own mediocrity. Your woman isn't going to stand by you when things get hard because she was attracted to your stability, not your struggle. You're alone. Completely, absolutely, devastatingly alone. And here's the truth nobody will tell you. That's not your tragedy. That's your advantage. Because the men who build empires, the men who become legends, the men whose names echo through history long after their bodies turn to dust, they all share one thing in common. They were all left to die, and they all refused. Let me tell you what really happened. Last Tuesday, you had an idea, a vision, something you're genuinely excited about, and you made the mistake of sharing it with someone close to you. Your father, your best friend, your partner, doesn't matter who, and you watched their face as you explained it. That subtle shift, that barely noticeable look of doubt, and then came the words, "That's interesting, but maybe you should be more realistic. I just don't want you to get hurt. Have you thought about the risks?" They dressed it up as concern, as love, as protection. But what you felt in your gut, what you knew in that moment, even if you couldn't articulate it, was the truth. They don't want you to succeed. Not really. Because your success forces them to confront the fact that they settled, that they gave up, that they chose comfort over greatness. Your transformation is a mirror they don't want to look into. Here's what Machiavelli understood about human nature that most men spend their entire lives refusing to accept. People don't abandon you because you're failing. They abandon you because you're changing, and change threatens the social order. In The Prince, Machiavelli wrote, "There is nothing more difficult to take in hand, more perilous to conduct, or more uncertain in its success than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things." You know why? Because everyone who is comfortable in the old order becomes your enemy. Not openly, not consciously, but deeply, biologically. They will sabotage you, not with obvious attacks, but with concern, with doubt, with realistic advice, with questions that plant seeds of fear. They will love you, and they will leave you to die. Both can be true simultaneously. Let me give you another example. You decided to start a business, or get in shape, or build something meaningful, and you told people about it. Big mistake, because now they're watching, waiting. And here's what they're waiting for: your failure. Not because they're evil, but because your failure proves they made the right choice by not trying. Your failure validates their comfort. Your success, it condemns it. So they stopped calling, stopped checking in, got busy, had other commitments, and you're sitting there wondering what you did wrong, why they're not supporting you, why you're suddenly alone. Let me tell you exactly what happened. You started climbing, and they're not climbers. They're spectators. And spectators don't climb mountains. They wait at the bottom to see if you fall. That's not abandonment. That's revelation. They revealed what they always were. You just finally had the courage to do something that forced them to show it. Nietzsche had a concept he called the spirit of gravity. It's the force that keeps most people mediocre, the weight of social expectation, of conformity, of comfort. And he said that to become the Übermensch, the Superman, you must first overcome this spirit of gravity. You must learn to fly while everyone else is telling you that flying is impossible, that you should stay grounded, that it's safer down here with the herd. And here's the brutal part.
The people who love you are often the heaviest weights, because their love comes with conditions. Love me back by staying the same. Love me back by not making me feel inferior. Love me back by not becoming something I can never be. That's not love. That's a hostage negotiation. And the moment you refuse to be held hostage, they leave. They abandon you. They let you die. Or so they think.
But here's what actually happens in that moment of abandonment. Something inside you breaks. The part of you that needed their approval. The part of you that required external validation to feel worthy. The part of you that was performing for an audience instead of building for yourself. That part dies. And it's a painful death. You'll spend nights staring at your phone, waiting for someone to check in. You'll question everything. You'll wonder if you made a mistake, if you should go back, if the isolation is worth it. This is the death, the actual death, not physical, but the death of your dependent self, the death of the version of you that needed others to define your worth. And most men don't survive this death. They go back. They apologize. They shrink back down to a comfortable size. They rejoin the herd. And they spend the rest of their lives wondering what could have been if they had just endured a little longer. Let me tell you about Machiavelli's exile. In 1513, he was tortured, imprisoned, and exiled from Florence, the city he served, the people he protected. They left him to die, literally. And in that exile, in that abandonment, in that isolation, he wrote The Prince, the most influential book on power ever written. 500 years later, we're still reading it, still learning from it, still trying to understand the mind that could produce such brutal clarity about human nature. That's immortality. He died in 1527, but his ideas? They're more alive today than most people walking around. He became immortal, not despite the abandonment, because of it. The isolation gave him the clarity to see what comfortable people never see, the truth about power, about human nature, about what it actually takes to build something that lasts. Nietzsche's story is even more brutal. He spent the last 11 years of his life in complete mental collapse, alone, abandoned by the academic world, mocked by his peers. His books didn't sell. Nobody understood his philosophy. He died thinking he was a failure. And then, after his death, the world discovered his work and realized they had abandoned a genius. Today, Nietzsche is one of the most influential philosophers in history. His concept of the Übermensch shaped modern psychology. His critique of morality changed how we think about ethics. His writings on power influenced everyone from Freud to Jung to every modern thinker on masculine psychology. He's been dead for over a century, but his words are more alive, more relevant, more powerful than 99% of people currently breathing. That's immortality, built in isolation, forged in abandonment, created when everyone left him to die. Now let me bring this to your life. Right now, today, you're at a crossroads. Everyone has abandoned you or is about to, and you have two choices. Choice 1, go back, shrink down, apologize for having ambition, rejoin the herd, be comfortable, be safe, be supported, and be forgotten. Die a mortal death and leave nothing behind except some people who kind of remember you existed. Or, choice 2, accept the abandonment, embrace the isolation, use the betrayal as fuel, and build something so magnificent, so powerful, so undeniable that they'll be talking about it long after you're gone. Become immortal, not literally, but build a legacy, a body of work, an empire, a life so significant that it echoes, That's the choice. Mortal comfort or immortal struggle. And you have to choose right now. Here's the framework. The 3 stages of transformation from abandoned to immortal. Stage 1. The death. This is where you are now. Everyone left. You're alone. It hurts. Good. Let it hurt. Because this pain is killing the version of you that needed them. Machiavelli said, "He who has not first laid his foundations may be able with great ability to lay them afterwards, but they will be laid with trouble to the architect and danger to the building." This abandonment? This is you laying foundations in hell, alone, in pain, but on solid ground. Because foundations built on your own strength never crack. Foundations built on others' support, they crumble the moment they leave, which they always do. Stage 2. The forge. This is where isolation becomes your weapon. Nietzsche said, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." The chaos of abandonment, of loneliness, of doubt. That's the raw material. Now you forge it into power. How? By becoming obsessed with your mission. Not casually interested. Obsessed. You wake up thinking about it. You fall asleep thinking about it. You skip social events because you'd rather work on it. People think you're crazy. You are. Crazy focused. Crazy dedicated. Crazy unwilling to waste a single day seeking approval from people who already proved they don't believe in you. This stage is where boys die and men are born, where mortals die and legends begin. Stage 3. The immortality. This is the outcome of stages 1 and 2. You build something so undeniable that they can't ignore it. Not a business necessarily. Could be art. Could be a physique. Could be mastery of a craft. Could be a body of knowledge. Doesn't matter what. What matters is that it's yours. Built alone. Built in isolation. Built with zero support. And now it stands as proof. Not for them. For you. Proof that you didn't need them. Proof that abandonment was the catalyst, not the conclusion. Proof that you can die and still live on through what you created. That's immortality. And it's only available to those who survive the other 2 stages. Let me give you the daily practical application. Because philosophy without action is just mental masturbation. Starting today, you implement what I call the exile protocol. You're going to choose isolation for the next 90 days. Not because you're bitter, but because you're building. Rule 1. Stop seeking support. Stop explaining your vision. Stop looking for cheerleaders. They're not coming. Accept it and move forward. Rule 2. Disappear from social validation. No posting your progress on social media. No updating people who didn't ask. No fishing for encouragement. Go dark. Build in silence. Rule 3. Obsess over your mission. Whatever you're building, make it your religion, your relationship, your reason for breathing. Channel every ounce of energy that used to go into seeking approval into creating something worthy of remembering. Rule 4. Document everything. Not for posting, for yourself. Because one day, when you've become immortal through your work, you'll look back at this period of abandonment and realize it was the most important 90 days of your life. The days that separated the mortal version of you from the legendary version. Rule 5. Study men who died alone and became immortal. Machiavelli, Nietzsche, Van Gogh, Tesla, countless others who were abandoned by their generation and worshipped by the next. Learn their psychology. Understand their process. They're your real teachers now. Not the people who left you. The ghosts of giants who walked the same path.
Now here's what's going to happen during these 90 days.
Week 1. You're going to feel the pain acutely, the loneliness, the doubt, the urge to reach out. Don't. Sit with it. Let it burn. Weeks 2 through 4. The pain starts to transform into fuel. You're angry. Good. Use it. Channel it into your work. Build with rage. Create with vengeance. Not against them. For yourself. Weeks 5 through 8. Something shifts. You stop thinking about them. You stop checking if they're watching. You stop caring. Your mission becomes more interesting than your abandonment. This is the breakthrough. Week 9 through 12. You're different, fundamentally. You no longer need validation because you've built your own source of worth. You've become self-sufficient, not just financially or physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. You've become untouchable. And here's the paradox that Machiavelli and Nietzsche both understood. The moment you become untouchable, everyone wants to touch you. The moment you stop needing them, they start needing you. Not because you played games, but because you became rare. Most people need external validation to function. They're addicts. And when they encounter someone who doesn't, someone who generates their own worth, their own purpose, their own emotional state, they're fascinated. Because they can't control you, can't manipulate you, can't use your need as leverage. You're free. And freedom is the most attractive energy in the universe. Let me tell you what happened to me. 5 years ago, everyone abandoned me. Business failed. Relationship ended. Friends disappeared. Family questioned everything. I was alone, completely, and I had a choice. Quit or build. I chose build. For 18 months I disappeared. No social media, no updates, no explanations. Just work. Building, creating, learning, training. Every day. Alone. People forgot I existed. Good. I wasn't building for them. And when I emerged, everything had changed. Not because I got lucky, but because I had become someone different. Someone who didn't need anyone's approval. Someone who had built something real in the darkness. And suddenly, everyone wanted back in. The same people who left wanted to reconnect. The same people who doubted wanted to support. Too late. Not because I'm bitter, but because I learned the most important lesson of my life. The people who leave when you're building can't be trusted when you've built. Machiavelli wrote about this exact phenomenon. He said that when you're rising to power, you'll see who your real allies are. Not by who supports you, but by who sabotages you. And the people who sabotaged you through abandonment, through doubt, through concern disguised as love, they revealed themselves. And you don't forget that. Not out of spite, but out of wisdom. Because your immortal self, the legendary version of you that you're building right now in isolation, that version knows something the mortal version didn't. People who abandon you in the dark don't deserve you in the light. That's not cruelty. That's discernment. That's the wisdom that comes from surviving what was supposed to kill you. Nietzsche said, "He who would learn to fly one day must first learn to stand and walk and run and climb and dance." One cannot fly into flying. You're in the standing phase, the walking phase, the struggling phase. Everyone else is sitting, comfortable, safe, supported. And they're watching you struggle and thinking you're foolish. Let them think that. Because they don't see what you're building. They don't understand that every day of isolation is making you stronger. Every moment of abandonment is forging you into something they could never become. Every second of being left to die is teaching you how to live forever through your work. Here's the final truth. The brutal, uncomfortable, liberating truth that will change everything if you accept it. You don't need them. You never did. What you needed was the belief that you could succeed without them. And the only way to develop that belief was to be forced to try. They did you a favor. A painful, brutal, devastating favor. They removed the crutch. They took away the safety net. They left you to die. And in doing so, they gave you the only gift that matters. The opportunity to prove to yourself that you're immortal, not invincible, not immune to pain, but capable of surviving what should have killed you and building something that outlives you. So here's what you do right now. Close this video. Turn off your phone. Sit in silence for 5 minutes and make a decision. Are you going to spend the rest of your life mourning the people who abandoned you? Or are you going to spend it building something so magnificent that future generations study how you turned abandonment into immortality? Machiavelli chose to write The Prince. Nietzsche chose to write Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Van Gogh chose to paint masterpieces. Tesla chose to change the world. All alone, all abandoned, all left to die by their generation, all immortal now. What are you going to choose? Because time doesn't wait, and neither does greatness. They left you to die. Now show them what happens when you refuse. Become immortal. Starting today, right now, this moment. The world doesn't need more people seeking support. It needs more legends built in isolation. Be one, or die a mortal death surrounded by people who kept you comfortable. The choice has always been yours. Choose wisely. Choose immortality.